What if the real secret to having this unshakable confidence, this deep sense of integrity, what if it had nothing to do with what you do in public, but everything to do with what you do in private? In this explainer, we're going to dig into a really powerful idea that all starts with one single, crucial question.
Okay, so let's just pause on this for a second. Really think about it. When there's no audience, no pressure, nobody to impress, who are you, really? Because as we're about to see, the answer to that question, well, it changes absolutely everything. All right, so to even begin to answer that, we've got to look at ourselves through a totally new lens, one that shifts our focus away from what other people see and points us toward the real hidden source of our own personal power.
This is pretty much how most of us are wired, right? We learn to constantly adjust who we are based on who's watching. We're always thinking, what's going to get us approval? What does the world expect from me? We're essentially shaping ourselves to fit the audience of the moment.
But here's the flip side. That real, deep-down strength, what this framework calls quiet power, that comes from completely reversing that flow. It's when your private self, the person you are when you're all alone, starts to dictate your public actions, and not the other way around.
And this is where we get to the heart of it, this amazing metaphor. Just think of your private life, your character, your habits, the promises you keep to yourself. Think of all that as the root system of a tree. It's hidden, it's unseen. And your public life, everything people actually see, well, those are the branches. The health of those visible branches depends entirely on the strength of that hidden root.
So, what's the big takeaway? It's simple, really. If you want a strong, thriving public life, you can't just fuss over the branches. The real work, the foundational work that makes everything else possible, is tending to the root.
Okay, so what does this actually look like in real life? Well, it turns out that nurturing that root versus just letting it go, it doesn't just lead to slightly different outcomes. No, it creates two completely different ways of being. So when we neglect our root system, we break little promises to ourselves, we act in ways that go against our own values, we basically create this quiet chaos inside of us. You might look totally fine on the outside, but internally, you feel fragmented, anxious, insecure, because deep down, you haven't been true to yourself.
But when you do the opposite, when you actually honor yourself in private, that's when you start to build what's called quiet power. And this isn't loud or showy, it's a solidness you can feel. It literally changes how you move through the world. You carry yourself with more confidence, you speak with more conviction, all because you don't need anyone else to tell you who you are.
And this is so important. This isn't about being good or bad. It's not some kind of moral judgment. It's a direct psychological consequence. It's almost like we're wired to feel weaker when we betray ourselves and to feel stronger when we honor ourselves. It's a simple, powerful feedback loop.
Okay, so this all sounds great, right? But how do you actually do it? How do you start tending to your own root system? The good news is, it's not about some giant, dramatic life change. It's all about the small, consistent choices.
First things first, let's get one thing straight. This is not about being perfect. The goal isn't to be a saint. It's much, much simpler than that. It's about choosing actions, especially when you're alone, that you wouldn't be ashamed of if, suddenly, they were broadcast to the world. It's about building that feeling of self-respect.
Really, when you get right down to it, it's all about the small stuff. It's actually keeping that promise to yourself to get up 15 minutes earlier. It's choosing to tell the truth when a little white lie would be way more convenient. Every single one of those tiny choices is like putting a little bit of water on the root, slowly and surely strengthening your trust in yourself. Here's a really practical tool you can use, like tonight. Before you go to sleep, just ask yourself this question. And listen, the point is not to beat yourself up. It's about gentle observation. Think of it as a compass. If the answer is no, that's okay. You just know where you might make one small positive adjustment tomorrow. Okay, so you do all this quiet work, all this gardening of your inner self. What's the payoff? Where does this path ultimately lead? And this is the really beautiful part. It's kind of paradoxical, actually. All of that challenging, disciplined work you do in private, it makes your public life feel effortless. When your inner world is solid and aligned, navigating the outer world just gets so much easier. What you end up with is this incredibly deep, calm confidence that has nothing to do with applause or getting likes. It's rooted in something so much more real. The simple, powerful fact that you are loyal to yourself. You start living a life based on your truth, not on a performance, and you just walk through the world with a quiet dignity that comes from knowing exactly who you are, even when no one is watching.
Because at the end of the day, real strength, real character, it's not built for an audience. It's forged in those quiet moments, in the rooms where there's no applause, when you choose again and again to honor the person you are truly meant to be.